It's no secret that small businesses have faced a number of challenges throughout the COVID pandemic, one of which being maintaining legal compliance. I'm Skye Schooley, a staff writer with business.com, and today I'm joined by Harper Wells. She is the Director of Compliance Insight and Strategy for True Office Learning to talk about what new compliance challenges businesses face in a post-COVID world and how to overcome them. Hey, Harper, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about risk and compliance. To get us started as a jumping off point, what sort of new compliance challenges are small businesses facing in a post-COVID world?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. The world has changed significantly post-COVID, largely not just because the business landscape has changed, but also the consumer landscape has changed. With vaccines, things are getting back to business as usual, but there's a lot of agility that businesses need to have to evolve with the landscape. So whether that is figuring out a way to attract talent in the labor shortage, shutting down again quickly if needed for another wave, or switching their approach to make consumers feel more comfortable, adapting quickly is critical to new ways of doing business. And as our work landscape and the circumstances of our employees have changed, I think the three biggest challenges small businesses should be tuned into are fraud, conflicts of interest, and harassment. Fraud, like various types of cash and invoicing fraud, they've always been a risk, but now in a hybrid virtual environment and in an environment where there's an increase in online transactional business, the risk increases. And with conflicts, we're in the world of the side hustle. Everyone's got a side hustle. And we're also in the world of what people are coining the Great Resignation. So securing talent, protecting your IP, and getting their focus will be an ongoing challenge. And with harassment, we really need to look out for all types of harassment and discrimination in the workplace, and we cannot discount discrimination and retaliatory behavior that may also take place as a result of differing viewpoints on social and political issues. And really the consumer tolerance here and reputational impact of these risks now is significantly higher than ever before. And I think the modern consumer is much more cautious about who they support by spending their financial capital. And these risks really are industry agnostic and very common.
Okay, so you had mentioned those primary risks being fraud, conflicts of interest, and harassment.
That's right.
How can businesses advance their compliance practices to meet these new risks?
Yeah, I think that there are three things that businesses can do right now to advance their compliance practices. And that is first for leaders to be really clear about the behaviors that are expected of them, which also includes them needing to get into gray areas so that they're not left ambiguous or open to challenge. This may also entail the creation of supporting policies and procedures in plain language and not legalese that supports and lays out appropriate behavior, or if policies were in place before, really taking a look at and refreshing those policies in light of changes that may have taken place because of COVID-19. Second, I think businesses really do need to deploy formalized training around the high-risk areas like financial crimes, conflicts, harassment. What we see in the marketplace is that best practice training really does, it's behavior-based. It's not spitting legalese out at you. It allows people to practice in simulation, and it provides feedback and reinforcement along the way. This way, employees can build muscle memory and know what to do in the event this actually comes up in real life versus just saying this is wrong. And third, and maybe most important also, is that managers and leaders at these organizations really do need to walk the talk, right? That means not just giving lip service, but really demonstrating the right way. And that includes promoting an environment where people feel comfortable raising their hand, whether that's through an anonymous line or whether that's through surveys along the year, or making sure that someone in leadership is available and trusted so that people can go to that person.
So I guess going forward, are there any potential risks that businesses face if they don't evolve their compliance practices?
Yeah, I do. I do think there is a risk to staying status quo, right? The biggest risk is reputational, from consumers, investors, to which organizations will be willing to hire you out as a third party. There's a strong turn in the marketplace towards values alignment. And unethical companies are seeing the impact directly to their bottom line, while, as we see, trusted organizations continue to outperform their peers. We can see this directly on the trust index. I talk a lot with clients. The Department of Justice's evaluation of corporate compliance program gives clear expectations around how companies should be approaching their compliance program. And interestingly, the Society for Human Resources Management, or SHRM, put out a stat that 40% of workers are currently looking for a job, which is crazy. So in this era that they are coining the Great Resignation, it's important that businesses create an environment where employees feel like there's a positive work culture, there's a sense of organizational justice, so that they're more likely to stay.
Awesome. So we had covered some challenges and how to overcome them. Before we wrap this up here today, did you have any final advice for small businesses who are trying to navigate and maintain compliance best practices going forward?
I would advise businesses to talk about compliance and ethics often, right? Just the biggest mistake that companies can make really is to take what I like to call a set it and forget it approach, because that's like the biggest red flag and is a dead giveaway that you're just trying to check the box. And it's very similar to how a lot of businesses have approached safety in their workplace. It's not about just like putting up a poster in some workplace or in the break room, but rather creating living, breathing processes that promote it at every turn and make it an inherent part of the culture within the company. And I would also recommend promoting quick opportunities for compliance moments, maybe in team huddles, where employees and managers can work through ethical dilemmas, have some two-way dialogue, encourage two-way conversation, really, and once again, lead by example and walk the talk.
Great. Well, that was all that we had for today. Harper, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.